Sapa, Lakota, for hills that are dark. From a distance, as you approach the hills, they look dark. The hills that we call the Black Hills have been the PAHA SAPA for hundreds of years. One of the best descriptions I have heard or read about the Black Hills is that they are a forested island in a sea of grassland. No matter what direction you approach the hills from, you're going to drive through a lot of rolling grassland. Black Hills are approximately 120 miles long from north to south and varies from 40 to 50 miles wide at different points. The elevation varies from 3,000 feet on the east edge of the hills to over 7,242 feet at Harney Peak. Harney Peak is the highest point east of the Rocky Mountains until you get into Europe. So there is nothing east of here in North America that is higher. Here at Outlaw Ranch, we are about 5,300 feet of elevation. Of the AMR, it's over 6,000. So if you are wondering why you may be a little short of breath, you may be at a little higher elevation. The Black Hills are a geological textbook. Some of the oldest rock exposed in North America and some of the youngest rock in North America are found here in the Black Hills. Every spring we see many vans from all of your major universities here in the Black Hills looking at the rocks, because in a very short distance they can go from very young rock to very, very old rock. Harney Peak granite has been atomically dated to approximately 2.2 billion years old, and some granite up north of Black Hawk is, and up around the Boy Scout camp has been dated back to about 2.5 billion years old. Black Hills have been rich in natural resources. For 100 years or more, the Homestay Gold Mine in Lead was the richest gold mine in the Western Hemisphere. Today it is an 8,000 foot deep science lab where they are studying neutrinos and other subatomic particles that nobody has ever seen, but they think they are there, and so it's getting to be a very important scientific location. The first ever timber sale on public land was here in the Black Hills. The case number 1 up near Nemo back in the early 1900s was the first Forest Service timber sale. First documented white person to come into the Black Hills. Some of you that went on the Wildlife Loop already know this. Who was it?
Jedediah Smith.
Jedediah Smith in 1823 came into the Black Hills. There had been reports of others that had traveled through here. There was some reports that some of the French trappers had been here, but Jedediah was the first documented white person. In 1874, a mile down the road, there was a large encampment of cavalry. General Custer was camped there with over 1,100 men and one lady, and that lady's name was? Aunt Sally, Sarah Campbell, black lady that was camped. The Sioux did not live in the Black Hills, but they would venture into the hills periodically to hunt, to get teepee poles. For many years, there were booming noises, loud booming noises. Even some of the French traders in their diaries had wrote about these loud booming noises. And around 1700, they seem to have dissipated. The Lakota people considered the Black Hills a resting place for their dead, so they would be able to get used to the beauty of the hereafter. They felt it was such a beautiful place. This was some place that it was a resting place to prepare them for the great beyond. The Black Hills have been a place of great spiritual significance, especially for the Native Americans. Harney Peak is considered to be the center of the universe in a lot of Native American spirituality. Harney Peak is actually the center geologically of the whole Black Hills uplift. Around the Black Hills we have Indian Cara, Devil's Tower, and Bear Butte. These also have great religious significance to many of the tribes from the northern plains. These are igneous intrusions, basically a volcano that didn't have enough energy to explode out the top, and they cooled underground, and the ground around them has eroded. The Native Americans considered them to be sky pillars. They held up the sky. Today, during the month of June, starting yesterday, there is a voluntary ban on all climbing at Devil's Tower because of Native religious ceremonies. Bear Butte is also a major religious site for the Sioux and for the Northern Cheyenne tribes. New Age spiritualists have also found the Black Hills. A number of years ago, there was a harmonic convergence of the stars and the planets that won't happen again until the year 2116. And there were several hundred people on Harney Peak one night. The 7 power points in the universe, Mount Everest and Uluru, and Harney Peak, I can't think of the other ones, but has great spiritual significance to a lot of people. There are 4 major healing areas in the United States. They're the New Age people. The Oregon coast is one area, the California Redwoods, another area, and the Blue Ridge Mountains in the east, and the Black Hills of South Dakota. Outlaw Ranch and Atlantic Mountain Ranch have been spiritual spots for thousands of people since 1958 at Outlaw, in 1963 at Atlantic Mountain. A number of years ago, I was mowing on the green, and it was on a Saturday, and a car drove in, and a friend of mine that I'd graduated with from Augustana drove in, and he has been a missionary in Cameroon for most of his career. And I went over to visit with him, and he said, this is the spot where I received the call. He said, I didn't answer it for many, many years, but he said, Outlaw Ranch is where I received the call. In Rapid City, there is a cancer specialist, Dan Petterite, who is one of the leading cancer researchers, and He came to Rapid City a number of years ago from the University of Wisconsin, and the Rapid City Journal had a huge spread on the front page of the Sunday paper about this cancer doctor, one of the top physicians in his field in the nation, and what they had to go through to recruit him, to get him here. And in his this article, he said he had always dreamed about coming to the Black Hills ever since he had worked at Outlaw Ranch as a counselor during his summer, during his college days. You are in a long line of people who have had or will have a life-changing experience here. One thing, we don't worship creation, we worship the Creator. One of the best descriptions that speak to the nature of man and his relationship to the earth is taken from Chief Seattle. If we sell this land to you, I will make now this condition. You must teach your children that the ground beneath their feet responds more lovingly to our steps than to yours, because it is rich with the lives of our kin. Teach your children what we have taught our children, that the earth is our mother. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. If men spit upon the ground, they spit upon themselves. This we know. The earth does not belong to the white man. The white man belongs to the earth. This we know. All things are connected, like the blood which unites our family. If we kill the snakes, the field mice will multiply and destroy our corn. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons and daughters of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life, he is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Some of the things that we ask that you do, we ask that as you walk or as you drive, you stay on paths. We conserve water. Water is a very precious resource here in the Black Hills. We need to be very careful with fires. Pick up trash any place if you see it laying around. We have a board in our entry in the house, and it says, if you're lucky enough to live in the Black Hills, you're lucky enough. And for those of us who are able and have been lucky to live here, this is very true, and we hope that this will also be true for you. So anyway, thank you.